Paisley here, coming at you today with 7 licks in the style of Ritchie Blackmore. So Ritchie Blackmore's got to be one of the most influential guitarists of all time. It's really hard to imagine just how many people have learned that iconic riff from Smoke on the Water. If you've watched a lot of videos on my channel, you may remember I used to have a deep purple banner up behind me, and that's because along with Rainbow, they played a huge part in me learning to play the guitar, and definitely a big influence on why I gravitated towards playing Strats. So he helped to introduce a lot of the classical sounds that we now hear in standard rock vocabulary, and he mixed it seamlessly with more kind of traditional bluesy ideas that we associate with the guitar. All of this he delivered with this really loud, piercing tone that requires a lot of precision to play with confidence. Unsurprisingly, he comes up very regularly in my teaching, and I still keep coming back to a lot of the ideas I've picked up from him after all of these years. Hopefully these licks will give you a bit of an insight into some of the concepts found in his playing. As always, the backing tracks that I'm using today are available over on my Patreon page, along with tab files in PDF and Guitar Pro formats. Please consider going and checking that out, as the support really helps me to keep making these videos. So lick number 1. So we're in our G minor, sort of 3rd fret position, starting off with this kind of standard Jimmy Page, Chuck Berry-esque classic rock lick. You've very likely done this before. Triplet up, bending that 5th fret, then rolling into the 3rd fret. Then the next set triplets, we've got this F, D, E flat. Then I'm going to do the D and E flat as a little trill, hammering on, pulling off, going down to this C, back up to the D, and then I'm going to finish it with C, E flat, C. And the C is kind of an odd choice to end on, but it's very Ritchie Blackmore, and to kind of emphasise that he meant to choose that note, he'll do something like this really aggressive whammy bar vibrato that's very distinctly him. And when I'm doing that, I'm really pushing like in and pulling back on the bar. It's like I'm getting it to spring in between my palm and my fingers there. Really rocking that back and forwards. Okay, lick number 2. So what's going on here? We've got a combination of quarter note and 8th note triplets happening. Starting off with this real staccato, coming out of the natural minor. I've got this B flat, A, B flat. Then I'm going to do the same notes again with that sort of same triplet fill we had on the D and E flat before. Down the blues scale after that. And this last set of notes, I like that kind of just going down, skipping up to the C. So I've got this C, B flat, G, C, skipping back to G. And again, big vibrato on that G. I might use my bar again on that. Same as we did before. It does do it a lot, but you've obviously got to be careful not to overdo that. lick number 3, potentially the hardest of the bunch. So we're coming in at sort of the second 2 of a set of quarter note triplets. So like a 1, 2, 3. And then I've got another of these little kind of hammer-on pull-off trill things. You'll notice very indicative of his style. So I've got this G, hammer into B flat, pulling off back to G, down to F, and then I roll straight back up to the B flat and do the trill again. And I've got this kind of walking up in thirds, but this kind of movement is very typical of him. So that's G, B flat, A, C, B flat, D, C, E flat, D, F, D, and then I'm going to bend the F up to G. And you got options with your vibrato on that sort of thing, so you could either bend it straight and hold it, give it some fast vibrato. Again, we could use the bar with that. It's quite good with varying up his expressive techniques. Lick number 4. So this one's great. It's real bluesy, but it's still got that little touch of that slightly classical sound. So again, very typical in Ritchie. So I'm starting off with this bend F to G, from 13th fret. And I'm kind of walking almost staccato and really percussive. Down the F, E flat, D, back to E flat. Then I'm going to jump to this C. And the key thing here is I'm going to pick the C and pick it again, and then bend it up to the D. And then from that, I'm going to do this gradual sort of reducing that bend between the D and the C, really milking a little space in between it. Those quarter note triplets again. Little kind of bluesy bend here, minor third edging on the major third. And then a very, almost Eric Clapton-esque, doing that minor third to root B flat to G. Okay, lick number 5. This is one of the simpler ones, but very effective. So we're in our more sort of standard pentatonic boxy area. We've got this one chromatic note we're going to add, which really adds a lot to it. And rhythmically, I've got this real sort of accented staccato hit, and then a longer hit on the same note. So we're repeating the same phrase twice, and then just when you think you're going to get stuck into that. And what I like with that is we've got this chromatic note on the way down, but not on the way back up. So that note basically exists as a rhythmic device, so we're going between this set of notes. But obviously there's not enough there, so we've added that in to make it feel like it's falling down and coming back up where we want those notes to be. number 6, stepping into some kind of harmonic minor territory here, so we're getting more into that classical sort of sound. So you'll notice with this, I'm using mostly 2 fingers. It's kind of one of these things that looks quite daunting, but it's kind of almost Django Reinhardt-y, just zigzagging 2 fingers across. So we get the phrasing right. You hear I'm just zigzagging up and down that in sets of 3. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All the way up to this 14th fret and bend up to my root notes. So that's the F sharp rather than the F. That's what's making it that harmonic minor sound. And I'm picking all of that, no, if I can, no hammer-ons, because it really adds to the sound of it. Okay, lick number 7, we've got some cool pedal tone, open string stuff going on here. So we're going up the natural minor scale and using our open G as a pedal tone. And first thing I'll point out, rhythmically, since this is all triplets, but I am hitting like a little pickup note on the end of the bar before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and that just helps it kind of, to me, feel a little bit smoother, because that sort of relentless picking sort of stuff, if you kind of just leap straight into it, it can sound like it's come out of nowhere a little bit. So adding that little note beforehand just kind of smooths it out, makes it feel like a little more like you're eased into it. And then I'm heading up, so we've got triplets and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and that's me going B flat to A, C to B flat. So you can see I'm going scale step back, a third up, scale step back. So I'm going to keep that going, but in the second bar of it, I'm only going to play one of the pedal tone in between. So I'm still playing triplets, but sets of 2 notes, so it gets this really cool sort of riding the beat effect going on. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. It's really hard to count that because you want the change of notes to be the beat. It's one of those things that's probably easy just to feel. The other thing I'll point out, playing it at that speed, I am alternate picking all of that. That really adds to the sound of it. If you do it with pull-offs, get some smoother sound, and that's more like something you might hear Van Halen doing that sort of sometimes, rather than just alternate picking it all the time. But the alternate picking really does give it that sharpness which we want for this Blackmore effect. Also, when I demonstrated this, I did do it at double speed for the last time, which is totally viable, and I might do pull-offs if I was doing that. Thanks so much for checking out this video. If you have enjoyed it, please make sure you hit like and subscribe, and make sure you turn on the little bell button so you get notifications every time I put out a video. Also, consider leaving me a little comment, let me know what you'd like to hear me do next. Remember, you can follow me on social media where you'll be able to keep up to date with whatever other projects I'm working on, and please consider checking out my Patreon page where you'll be able to get access to the backing tracks, the tab files as PDF from Guitar Pro, and also an extra video that goes into a little more depth about the technique and the scales and the theory that's happening in all of these licks. Thanks so much again for checking this out, and I hope to see you all soon.